because of the senior players.
Right.
Like, he didn't want to communicate that much
Right.
with Sachin Tendulkar, especially, after the issues that he was having with them.
Right.
But now, even with the youngsters, I don't know for whatever reason, if you do you also feel that way?
Yeah, I feel he can be a bit too passive at sometimes. I think it's also important to realize over here that often the narrative, history is written by winners, right? And if India wins, we don't normally bisect these things. When India loses, we bisect these things in greater detail.
That's right.
So, I think we've both come to the conclusion that he has some merits and demerits.
Right.
I think when the team is playing defensively or the team is under the cosh, I do think he should express his emotions a little bit more, try and inspire his players rather than being a little too aloof, a little too calm. But then again, as you said, his calmness has won us many great moments also. So
No two views about that. So I think we would conclude that yes, ODI and T20, I think he should still carry on.
Absolutely.
It's just the test that
Yes.
we need to replay. Do you even think that yes, he should be altogether removed from the test team? Because that's another question. Because that was my suggestion in 2011.
Yeah.
The reason for that is I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he's already captaining 4 different teams if you even take him out of the test team.
Right.
Because he's going to
Chennai Super Kings.
Chennai Super Kings twice, because
Yes.
not only the IPL but the Champions League as
Yes,
well.
yes.
So I think, and the second reason why I wanted to say this, that at least give a chance. From the last 6 years, there's no other wicket keeper. I mean, obviously you have Dinesh Karthik and Vrindam Saha,
Right.
but there are not many wicket keepers who will get a chance.
Right. I think even over there, it ties into our earlier conversation, the lack of alternatives. In first class cricket right now, we don't really have. I have to say, one of Indian cricket's big tragedies was Parthiv Patel.
Okay.
The fact that he never really became what he could have become is really tragic, a big loss for Indian cricket. Making a debut at the age of 17 on that tour to England in 2002, it was a special moment, and everyone expected Patel to be the wicketkeeper for the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
But his form tailed off quite considerably. And I also find that Dinesh Karthik, his batting is good in home conditions, but away from home he struggles a little bit. Whether Dhoni should be removed altogether from the team, that's a tricky one. You've really put me on the spot over there.
Right.
I think he deserves his place right now, just because even over there, even as a wicketkeeper and a batsman, that being said, he hasn't performed as a batsman for a while.
Okay.
There are glimpses of potential. For example, the first test against New Zealand in Auckland, what Dhoni and Jadeja did, only Dhoni can do that. And you almost feel that if Jadeja would have stayed with Dhoni,
Yes.
and if they'd have carried India to victory, we'd be talking about one of the greatest lower order innings of all time. Unfortunately, he got bowled to Neil Wagner playing that hook shot,
Yes.
which was also suspicious. People were saying, was that a no ball or not? You remember the controversy around that?
Yes.
So Dhoni, at the end of the day, yeah, he is in poor form, but he is a match winner. And I think in India and Pakistan, we have a history of tolerating match winners even when they're not in form. We always wait for that special innings. There is debate about it. I personally would stick with him just a little bit, especially because, I don't know, I'll ask you, do you think Karthik is ready to play in the test team?
He hasn't been that consistent, but he's been performing sometimes in IPL.
Right.
He has been performing in the ODIs as well.
Right.
And not only in Dhoni's absence, but in his presence as well. And with his, sometimes I can see that just because of his batting merits, he can be in the team.
Okay.
But not only Dinesh Karthik, but we need to give others chance as well. Like Vrindam Saha, I agree with you. Parthiv Patel hasn't risen up to the occasion, but certainly there are other wicket keepers also. I think we need to give them the chance, because I think there are many wicket keepers right now, whether I've seen them in IPL. Ambati Raidu, he can keep the wickets.
Right.
Then you have wicket keepers from all different teams in Punjab.
I think also a big challenge over there, and once again I'm playing devil's advocate, I think a big challenge over there is a lot of the other keeper batsmen in the Indian team. If you look at it, actually a lot of them are top order players.
Yeah.
Ridhiman Saha, Dinesh Karthik, in the first class game they bat at 4 and 5.
Right.
And I would say that batting at 7 or 8 sometimes requires a different kind of mindset, in which, but then again, with experience, they could acquire that mindset. But again, Yudhvir, I'll defer from you on this one, and I'll keep Dhoni in the team for now.
You'll still keep Dhoni in the team. Just as you use the word match winner, that was my next question. When you talk about match winners, currently, do you think India team has the kind of match winners it used to have before? I mean, we'll always draw parallels between the previous team and this team. You had Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh, Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid. I mean, Zahir Khan. These are the guys who on their day can win the match single-handedly, including Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Right.
But now the current Indian team, can you really boast that you have that many match winners right now?
I think in certain conditions that are conducive to the Indian team, yes, we do have match winners. I think it's risky. Nostalgia it's this one human emotion, right? It's sort of a drug, Even when I watch movies nowadays, I think, oh, I miss the movies from the 90s, I miss the movies from the 60s, whether it be Bollywood, Hollywood, everything older seems golder, right? As I say, old is gold.
Right.
That being said, the current crop has delivered, and I think a big match winner for India is undoubtedly Virat Kohli. At this young age, already 20 centuries. Now, I don't know in one-day cricket, I don't know if he'll break Sachin's overall record of 100 centuries, but I think the 48 centuries in ODIs, it's gone. It's
gone.
definitely going to happen. He's scoring 10 ODI centuries a year. It's
Right.
unbelievable. That's truly a special talent. Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan on their day are also match winners. Let's give them some time. Let's give these young guys 2 or 3 years. It only seems like yesterday that Sachin, Lakshman, Dravid, Ganguly all retired. So I wouldn't draw too many judgments on them so quickly.
So quickly.
Yeah.
And if I was to ask you that, do you think that Harbhajan Singh, Yuvraj Singh,
Yeah.
or Gautam Gambhir or Virendra Sehwag, do
Yeah.
you think they'll come back for the World Cup? I want you to analyze one at a time.
Okay.
And I know that Yuvraj Singh has made a comeback, but for our viewers, I want to tell them that it's only the T20 World Cup. Now,
Right.
I'm talking about the ODI World Cup
Right.
in 2015.
Right.
So what are the chances of all 4 of them?
All right, I'll tackle them one by one, as
Yeah.
I say. And I know for a fact some of these players include your favorites. So I'll try and be careful, not hurt your feelings.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll start with Virendra Sehwag. I would say Sehwag has a chance, depending on how he performs in the domestic season. Right. If he has a really good domestic season, I think Sehwag has a chance. The reason
Wasim didn't want to cut you off, but we got to
break.
take a short break.
Yeah.
After this short break, stay tuned and we will know what does Wasim think. Does the Indian team need Virendra Sehwag, Harbhajan Singh? Saurav Ganguly thinks so. Yes, Harbhajan Singh should be in the team, but we'll discuss about that after a very, very short break. 905-848-5483.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers or Rogers TV.
Welcome back to South Asian Live. I'm your host, Yudhvir Jaswal, and you're watching South Asian Live, and we have Wasim with us. Wasim, as we were discussing right before the break, the 4 all-important cricketers, everybody wants to watch them in the Indian cricket team, but I know maybe they're running out of time.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sehwag first.
Okay, I'll talk about Sehwag first. Sehwag has an excellent record in Australia. Uh, not so much in New Zealand in one-day cricket. He has a great record in Test cricket in New Zealand, not so much in one-day cricket. But he has an excellent record in Australia in all forms of the game.
Right.
So I think he merits a place in the squad. That being said, since we are talking about merit, as fans of cricket, whether you're a fan of cricket in general or the Indian team, you have to give credit where it's due. Sometimes when two players are performing so well, whether you like Sehwag more than them, you're a little bit nostalgic. The fact of the matter is Dhawan and Rohit Sharma, notwithstanding the 4-0 and the 2-0, in 17 matches together as an opening pair, they've had 500 plus partnerships and 650 plus partnerships. So it's hard to argue that. I would still take Sehwag in the squad. If any of them do suffer a dip in form, there's still a year left, you know.
Right.
If either Shikhar or Rohit suffer a dip in form, Sehwag should be in the squad ready to replace them if need be.
Okay.
Gautam Gambhir, I'm sorry, I think the time has passed for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he merits a place in the one-day team anymore for the World Cup. I think there's still some merit in him coming back as a test cricketer, especially because Dhawan sometimes seems to chase the wide balls around. Gambhir had that patience, you know. Gambhir was that sort of aggressive player. He can play aggressive without looking like getting out.
Right.
And I think that certainly has some merits. But in the one-day team, I don't know. Especially if I think Sehwag would be in the squad as well. You need to take 4 openers with you, and you're only taking a squad of 15. So you have to have your spare bowlers as well. So I don't know where Gambhir will fit. Yuvraj?
Before you go on Yuvraj and Harbhajan, you know, in the test squad, do you think Murli hasn't been performing that well? And Shikhar Dhawan,
Yeah.
you know, off and on, he's been performing well.
Yes.
So to partner him, if you would bring in Gautam Gambhir,
Right.
wouldn't that be a good idea?
Maybe there is some merit, especially because Vijay might struggle in England. Vijay might struggle in England in the swinging conditions. So I think that's why I was saying I think Gambhir has a place in the test team still to partner either Shikhar or I would go with Shikhar and Gambhir, 2 left-handed openers on the tour to England. I can see that working for India very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think about Yuvraj?
I think I would go with Yuvraj
Okay.
with the World Cup. In fact, not even just in the squad, I would go with Yuvraj in the starting 11. Only to get that balance in the middle order. So we've got Virat Kohli, fantastic, stylish batsman. Ajinkya Rahane, very good. He's looking really good, very classy, very calm. You know, almost in some ways he reminds me a lot about Rahul Dravid, right?
Agree.
He knows how to assess the game situation. He knows when to play slow, when to defend. But I also think his attacking game is actually better than Dravid's. His defensive game is as good as Dravid. Dravid sometimes used to struggle to up the scoring rate in ODIs.
Right.
Rahane is over there. I think Yuvraj is that good player in the middle order who on his day can score at a strike rate of 150, even 200.
Yeah.
And that's a very valuable commodity. So for me, he's a sure bet in the World Cup starting 11 because he balances out. When you look at Dhawan, Sharma, Kohli, Rahane, at 5 or 6, output Yuvraj easily. Ahead of Rayudu, ahead of Karthik, easily.
And also he can ball.
That's true. The
And the
all-round
fielding.
option, and he's an excellent fielder. You know, even despite his age, he remains an excellent fielder. So he has that X factor. He was man of the series in the last World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Right.
So I think he has a place. And he scored 4 centuries in Australia in ODIs. So he's very comfortable in those conditions.
In those conditions.
Yeah.
Finally, Saurav Ganguly, he made a statement today. You know, Saurav Ganguly said that yes, Dhoni and his men, they are blocking Harbhajan. I think that's a very strong statement which Saurav Ganguly has made, that Dhoni and his men are blocking. And he's said that many times previously as well. That, you know what, in my team, Harbhajan Singh would always be there, and especially after his 26 wickets in IPL for
Right.
Mumbai Indians.
Yeah.
Then he led from the front as far as batting was also concerned. He did chip in few runs, and Mumbai Indians won for the first time. I'm not
Yes.
saying it's just because of Harbhajan Singh,
Yeah.
but he played well. So do you think he deserves a place in the ODI squad? Yes. No.
I'll come out strongly over here and say, with all due respect to sort of Ganguly, I mean, I bear no comparison. His opinions certainly have a lot of weight. I'll disagree with him on this, and I don't think Harbhajan merits a place in the ODI team. I think Yudhviji, we also have to draw a small distinction. I know they're both limited overs formats.
Right.
There is still a distinction between 20-over cricket and 50-over cricket.
Agreed.
Right? There is a settling in period. If the opposing batsmen play continuously aggressively, like in the 20-over format, you really can't settle that easily. So when people play their shots against Harbhajan's very good at getting them out. In the 50-over game, you don't necessarily always have to take those risks. I also find Harbhajan over the past 2 years, he's focused so much, and a part of it is the evolution of cricket itself. Smaller grounds, spinners are bowling flatter. right? I think Harbhajan's greatest strength was when he used to flight the ball, he was a much more dangerous much more dangerous bowler.
right.
I think in one-day cricket over the past 2 years, opposing batsmen have found him out. They find it very easy to negate his strengths, primarily because he's actually not bowling to his strengths. He's bowling to the situation a little bit too much. Maybe that has something to do with Dhoni's captaincy. So I don't think Harbhajan deserves a spot, especially because in the ODI side, Ravindra Jadeja, with his left arm action, the ball skidding and all, has proved to be a big asset. And we also have a few part-time spinners that can shield the ball. And especially in Australia and New Zealand, Yudhvir, a spinner is not going to bowl more than 10 or 15 overs in the innings. So I'm going to disagree on this one.
Disagree on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you think about Pakistan? Or let's talk about the Pakistan cricket team.
Okay.
They have been inconsistent, and why I wanted to specifically talk about Pakistan. You know what? If you look at the rankings, whether it's the Test ranking, I mean, if you want to have pick 5 major teams, you know,
Right.
India, South Africa,
Yeah.
you would pick India, you would pick South Africa because South Africa is the #1 Test team
Yeah.
as far as the ODI is concerned. Australia are the #1 in the rankings currently right now, and
Right.
then you have Sri Lanka at the top of the table as far
Right.
as T20 is concerned.
Right.
So India, Australia, India is on the #2 position of all
Yeah.
the 3 rankings,
Yeah.
but you still have South Africa, England over there.